John Pennisi is loyal,
genuine, irreplaceable. John Pennisi is generous,
real,
unique,
fair.
John Pennisi is my people.
Extraordinary,
Genuine,
legendary,
fun.
John Pennisi is hilarious,
multifaceted,
one of a kind.
John Pennisi is cheerful,
Twitterific.
John Pennisi is an institution.
Hilarious,
Inspiring,
A caring husband,
phenomenal,
Irreplaceable,
witty,
team player.
John Pennisi is a hero.
remarkable,
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
devoted,
diligent,
Witty,
is legendary,
shameless,
quick-witted,
Dynamic.
unique.
John Pennisi is fabulous.
If I had one word that I would use to describe you, it would be lightheartedness, because any class that you were in was lighthearted. I appreciated that as your teacher and as your all-time fan. Congratulations, John.
and he showed me to always be kind and treat students with respect, and to be positive all the time.
There's not anyone who has worked with him or who's been a student who doesn't know that his sense of humor is pretty spectacular. He can make a person laugh when no one else can.
We laugh at the same things, and I haven't found too many people in my life that I share that with, and so like he's of my tribe.
Every day I would go talk to him in his class every day, probably bother him, startle him, scare him. I would just kind of jump out of nowhere and be like, hey, how are you? And I definitely miss that.
He's one of the best teachers that has ever walked these halls, will ever walk this state, and just a great example for young teachers and a great example for kids, and just the best teacher.
There's an honesty about him that makes him very approachable and very easy to talk to. And so I appreciate that. Still do.
He has the utmost respect for every other person, and that's something that everyone understands the moment we meet John. John, I hope that you know that we love you, we miss you, but know that AHS is way better because of you.
Hey John, I don't know if you know this or not, but with your retirement, that makes me the person with the most years in the English department. Now, that's different from the oldest person in the English department. I'm not quite there yet, but I will be the one with the most years. So that started me thinking, what are my duties? What do I get? Do we get a big photograph? I figure Elizabeth Lundy could help out with that one. We love you and we will miss you, but please enjoy your retirement.
He was very inspirational to me. We didn't work one-on-one together, but he was next door for Tiger Connect, and we've both been at the high school for a lot of years together. And he was always very positive, and even when things got tense or maybe negative, he was able to shed some humor to the situation and always make the situation appear better, even if it really wasn't.
I think John is probably one of the most generous of spirit people I know. He is generous in the classroom with his students. He's willing to go the extra mile. He is generous with his colleagues. He, for every IEP I had to write, I always wanted to get his statements because they were so good. He always went the extra mile.
You know, your day-to-day interaction with John Pennisi is a small little phrase or comment that is just so hysterical it keeps you going throughout the day.
Well, one thing I liked about Mr. Pennisi is the fact that no matter what was going on at the school, he was ready, willing, and able to contribute in any way he could. He was a value to his co-workers and to the students.
So I have the privilege of knowing Mr. Pennisi as a student and as working with him as an adult. He was a teacher here when I was here at Auburn High School. I never had the privilege of having him as a teacher, but I did hear other students talk about him constantly about how much they loved Mr. Pennisi. What's interesting is, as an educator, I've gotten to see that he is one of those unique, irreplaceable teachers that has the love of the students, but also has the respect and love of the educators around him. And that's irreplaceable.
When I think John Pennisi, a few things that come to my mind are his passion for what he was able to do with students, and also the relationship piece I think that he had with the students here and students that he taught years ago. I'm still hearing from about the impact that he has had on their lives. So,
well, I've known John since he was interning here in 1992, and my daughter was in his class when he was an intern. And I remember what a great job he did then, and then we were so pleased when he could come and join our faculty the following fall of 1992. When he became a colleague, he had a very challenging schedule his first year. He had to teach 3 different grade levels. He had 9th grade, 10th grade, and 12th grade English. And this was more, I think, than any new teacher should ever have to try to deal with. But he was able to juggle all of these responsibilities and do a great job.
I remember when John first came into internship in 1992. It was he was so nervous. It's hard to understand how he could have been that nervous when he turned out before the year was over, or before the semester was over, to be the most relaxed, enjoyable teacher that my students that year had. They certainly enjoyed his teaching, and I did too. I knew that he was going to be a wonderful teacher then.
I would say when I first met John, I thought he was incredibly shy until I saw him interact with his students. And I thought, whoa, this guy's not shy. he's like a performer on the stage.
I can't remember how old he was, but he was probably turning 30 or something like that. And so 2 of the other teachers decided that they would have a mock wedding for Mr. Pennisi. And so they hired a bride to come and to marry him at a local establishment. And then I showed up in a bridal outfit myself to break up the marriage. So we've always had a lot of fun, kidding with him, and we felt like we practically raised him since he came here, when he was 22 or 23 years old, and he's been here, for 24 years now.
I'd just like to say to John that I admire him. I appreciate all that he has done for this school and for the students. And I would just like to tell him he really made a difference, and that is extremely special.
Just keep on keeping on, baby. That's all, because he's doing a great job.
You are a father, a husband, a teacher, a professor, a storyteller, a writer, a Xerox machine fixer, and a friend. And since you're retiring, now you will share all these gifts with new places and with new people in new adventures. As you have, as you are, and as you will, always. I love you, John. Oh, and my word for you, nerd.